Alright. So let's get started. And we have some more kids in the class. Tansi and Alekhya. Alekhya was there in last class as well. So Tansi's, this is her first class. Okay. So can everybody hear me okay on the screen? Dhanvin, Riya, Vishal, Chris, Narka and Gautam. Okay. So right now we are in the topic or the unit called statistics. And when we talk about statistics, we learn about the basic concepts of center, spread and distribution. Where when you talk about center or spread, that is primarily meant for knowing how is your data behavior. Meaning, if you talk about things like mean, median, mode, it just tells you if you're looking at a set of data, number of records, how is the data changing? Are you looking at all data being similar? Are you seeing a lot of variance there? Or is there a lot of difference among the data elements that you see? So, again going back to historical records, let's say if you're talking about the temperature in the month of May, maximum temperature, today is this. We're looking at last 5 days temperature, and that is where you see you started with this, you have gone all the way to this. Hello. Just give me 1 more minute, okay? No worries. Minus okay. Nice meeting you. Come on in, we'll have fun. So just be really careful, okay? Yeah. AC is coming tomorrow, so today I'm really managing with the fan and the bench. Pick up a chair, find a place for yourself. And be careful with the wet floor, okay? I don't have a sign saying wet caution, wet floor. You are my friend as well, right? Yeah. Be careful with the wet floor, okay? Grab a chair, settle down.
Okay. We cannot talk to you, but continue. Okay.
We can talk on the phone or after the class.
Yeah.
Okay? Alright.
Thank you.
Yep. Has everybody settled down?
It will be under 4, right?
4 o'clock. So, sorry kids for a little bit of distraction because we have some more friends for you guys. I will not say my friends. I'm too old to be friendly with you all. But yeah. So, can I know everybody's name? You are Arush. You guys move a little bit further. It's missed. It will not hurt. You'll just feel better. And tomorrow we'll have AC, so it'll be fine. Okay. Move a little forward so that I can see everybody and I would know whom I'm talking to. So you are?
David.
Little louder. Little louder, please.
David.
So David. Okay. And you are Arush. And you are?
Solid.
Little louder.
Solid.
Sangit.
Solid.
Sahib. Okay, Sahib. Alright. Good. So I'm not feeling lonely anymore. I see kids in the classroom and that makes me believe that it's a classroom. Because most of the kids were joining online, so it was only Praneet. So he was the only lonely guy in the class along with me. Alright. So this is a class for SAT preparation. So precisely we have kids from 8th grade all the way till 11th grade. And what we do is, if you guys know, on the Khan Academy, there's a unit called Digital SAT Prep. That gives you the entire boundary of everything that you guys need to prepare for with respect to SAT. So there are 13 units. We are in the 6th unit right now. And kids who are joining now, I'll call you guys kids, don't feel bad about it. I have a child who's going to go to college this year. So that's how I treat you guys like my own kid. Okay? So we are in the 6th unit. That doesn't mean that all of you who are joining late or now is going to miss anything. Because we'll do 13 units, come back to the same units one more time. We'll do 2-3 iterations before you guys plan to do your SAT. So you'll have enough time to react to how SAT is and how prepared you are. And here in the class, whatever we do, you see this iPad, it is recording me and the board. You guys are not getting recorded. But I'm getting recorded here, so whatever we do in the class, you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything. Put your focus and energy on understanding the concepts. Ask me questions wherever you have doubt. And anything that we do here that is recorded, you guys can refer to it later on. Anything that you miss, you can revise it later as well. It all goes on YouTube, not because I'm wanting to become a YouTuber or anything. It's primarily for my kids only to revise. Okay? Alright? So let's get started. Right now we are in the unit 6 or unit 7, I don't remember exactly. It's statistics. So there where we talk about center spread of data and then data representation. That's the boundary of this unit. So where we have talked about center spread, that is where we talked about mean, median and mode. Anybody in the class who is not clear about what is mean, median, mode? Anybody? And it's okay not to know. It's not okay not to share. Everybody clear about what is mean, median, mode? Any idea? And this applies for the kids on the screen as well. Anybody who doesn't believe in why we need to know about mean, median, mode? What is the advantage or disadvantage or reasoning behind learning this concept itself? Forget about scoring 100%. Why do we need to know mean? Why do we need to know median or mode? Yeah? You can represent the data properly. I'll not say no, but okay, I'll take that as one of the points. You can predict future data. Now, let's say, in the entire US, we have, what happened? Some old friends meeting together? Okay, wonderful. So, let's say, if we talk about everybody in 9th, 10th grade, in high school or about to start high school, yeah? If you guys have to make a guess, what percentage of kids in the entire US, forget about US, in Texas alone, like maths? What percentage? Any guess? 30? Anybody on the screen? What percentage of kids in the entire Texas like maths? Any guess? Deep, Krish, Snarka, Dhanveen, Ria, anybody? Make some guesses, guys. It's okay. I'm not going to hold you accountable for this. It's fine. Guesses, guess. 45. Now the answer to that question is, I don't know. There's no way for me to know. What I would do is, I will randomly plan to do some analysis. I will probably handpick 10, 15, 20 kids whom I know. Randomly, without any guess, without any bias, without any strategy. I'll randomly pick 10, 20 kids from any high school or maybe a couple of high schools and ask them, okay, do you like math? Somebody says yes, somebody says no. So, I will take that information and then put that on the table. Okay, 9th grade, 10th grade. Let's say I took 10 samples. 9th grade, 2 kids said yes, I like. 3 kids said okay, I don't care about who teaches math. 10th grade, probably 4 kids said I like. 1 child, okay. Now from this information, if I ever dare to collect the exact detail for all the kids in Texas, my life would not be enough. Okay? If I decide to get that feedback from all the high schoolers in entire Texas, my life is not enough. What I would do is, I'll do sampling. I'll probably pick 110 kids or maybe 100 kids. That is doable. And then take that information from this data alone. If you look at it, 5 plus 5, 10. Out of 10 kids, what do I see? 6 kids like math, 4 don't like. 60%. I can extrapolate that and say probably around 60% kids like math in the high school. Maybe if I go to middle school also, that percentage might change, might go down or go up. So this sampling helps you get some trend, then relate to that information and then extrapolate it. That is why data becomes very important. Depending on what kind of data you are collecting, and then how do you extrapolate and then predict based on that. So if you look at, initially I was saying, okay, May 1 week's temperature, maximum temperature 39, 47, 48, 61, 79. I just took 5 days temperature. And then I can probably average it out and say, okay, probably May month starts low, gets high. And this will be typically the trend every year with some variance. So if I'm, let's say it was 1st of May and this is 5th of May, if anybody has to make a guess, what would be the temperature on 6th of May, what would you say? 80, maybe 85, maybe 76. We are being a little optimistic that temperature might go down a little bit. So here, this is exactly what the data analysis helps you do that. You look at a sample data, okay, and then derive some interpretation from that and use that for predicting what is not known to you. Is everybody able to relate to what I'm saying? Be it Gautam, Sunarka, Chris, Dhanvin, Sara, right? Okay. Riya with me? Okay. So that is what we learned in the previous class, where we talked about mean, median and mode. And I believe everybody knows mean is nothing but the average. If you have 5 records, 10 records, 20 records, 100 records, average of that is what is called mean. Now if you look at median, all the kids who were there in the class, they would probably remember. If somebody who was not there, I still want to do a quick check.
It's the middle number.
It's the middle number. I would make a small correction to that. It's the middle of the organized number. Be it in ascending order or be in descending order. Let's say if I had, and again for some of you who were there in the class before, it might sound boring, but that's okay because math is about practice. If I have, let's say, a score of 5 kids in the class, if I have to find out the median of this, if I have to find out the mean, I don't have to worry. I'll just add them together, divide by 5. Yeah, Vishal? I'm checking one more time. Everybody can hear me okay, right? There's some background noise at my end because of the fan. Oh, okay. No, that's okay. I'm just checking that you guys will hear me okay, right? So if I have to find out the mean, I will take the average. I mean, basically add them together, divide by 5. That's my mean. And mean tells you that, okay, fine. If you have to predict the 6th number, let's say the mean of this comes out to be, let's say, 37. If you have to predict the 6th number, you will not predict 99. Okay? You will predict maybe 38, maybe 41, or maybe 34. You will stay in that range because you are seeing a trend. From that you have found some value and then you are relating to that. Clear? Now, median when you have to calculate, like Kansi, right? I'll keep on calling out names just to make sure that I don't forget your names, okay? So, like you said, it's a middle of the number. I said it's middle of the number, middle of the organized number, be it in ascending order or be it in descending order. I will arrange them in ascending order, say 26, 31, 39, 49, 51. That will become my order if I am putting it in ascending order. Or 51, 49, 39, 31, 26. That will become my descending order. And once I put them in that order, so let's say if I am putting in ascending order, this is my middle number which I will call as median. And if you compare this guy with the mean of this, let's say my mean was 36, you will find them pretty close to each other. So be it mean or be it median, both gives you the central behavior of the data. What is in the center? Okay? Everybody with me, right? So mean and median, we understood. And again, you are not learning mean, median or anything for that matter in this class just because you want to get 100%. I don't teach for making you guys get 100%. I teach you guys to understand the concept and see how you want to relate it. What is the practical significance of that so that it stays with you longer. Everybody are with me, right? Sunarka, with me? Gautam?
Yes.
Okay. So mean and median you guys know. I don't want to waste your time further. Now talk about mode. Does everybody remember how to calculate mode? And you don't have to say yes, because there are certain few things that should not be known to you, and that is why I am here. So if you don't know, it's okay. Don't think that okay, somebody will laugh, somebody will feel bad. In this class, you have full flexibility and luxury of being wrong. Don't be shy. Are you okay? Okay. So don't be shy. Share a lot of things. Share what you know versus what you understand versus what you don't understand. And it's okay. Now, so mean and median we heard. Now, so I'm talking about mode. I will not teach what is mode. Okay. I don't want to teach mode. You guys are much bigger than the concept of mode. Unless you guys want me to. But tell me, what is the practical relevance of mode? Why do you need to know mode? How does it help?
That number that we find with the mode has some maximum difference from
Right. Mode is something that has maximum influence on your data set that you're dealing with. Let's say if I am talking about let's say there was an exam of 30 marks and 10 kids appear in that exam. One guy got 24, another guy got 26, another one got 30 out of 30. Somebody got 11, somebody got 25, somebody got again 26. Another kid got 26, one guy got 27. And I just wrote 3 plus 3 plus 2, 8. Let's say 18 and 26. Here in this set of data that you are looking at, what is the mode?
Twenty-six.
26. Because, so mode is nothing but, Arush, you are having difficulty in seeing the board. You might want to move that side a little bit. That's okay? Yeah. You seem to be very shy guy, right? No? Don't be shy, okay? You don't have to call me sir always. If you want to call me uncle, you can call me uncle. That's fine. I don't mind being called uncle. Okay? Just be comfortable. That's my point. Now, so mode is here, as Francis said, this is 26. And like what Praneeth explained, mode is a number that has maximum influence on the set of record that you're looking at. Let's say if you have to find out the mean here, you will find that this guy is influencing the mean maximum. If mode was, let's say 30, that means mean would have been 30. Now, be it 30, 26, 25, how does it matter? Let's say if I'm looking at this was my test, okay? Where my kids gave the exam and they got this. When I look at this data and find mode as 26 versus mode being 11 out of 30, that gives me an insight into what is going wrong. Let's say out of 30 marks exam, if my mode is 11, what does it mean to me, Ria? Am I a good teacher or a bad teacher? And be okay saying bad teacher, that's fine. I'm sorry, beta?
Can you repeat the question? I don't really understand.
Now I'm saying, I conducted a test of 30 marks with 10 of my kids. And I got some marks here, okay? And you guys know how to find out the mode. If I got a mode of 26 versus a mode of 11 out of 30, if the mode of the data or the result is 11, am I a good teacher or bad teacher? Bad teacher. I like that. I want you guys to be brave in saying the fact, okay? You're not trying to demean my profile, okay? You're just saying the fact, and math is about facts. So, when the mode is 11, that rings the bell for me. Oh, mode is 11 meaning there are many kids who got 11. That means that in the exam, whatever question I gave, that was not understood by the kids. Maybe I did not explain the concept well. Maybe the kids did not practice well. So then I will double click on that to figure out whether there is a flaw with my teaching style or kids need to practice more. And based on that I'll exercise. So all that we are seeing, be it mean, median or mode, it has some inference that you have to draw or derive, which will help you find out the action plan. See, I mean, whatever you guys are doing now, I did that 30 years ago. I did not do SAT. I mean, I did my schooling in India, so there was no SAT for me. But then again, there was competition, there were exams, there were tests. There were tests where I flunked, there were tests where I did good. Every time I appeared for a test, there were all possible options, right? I might get a good score, I might get an average score, I might get a bad score. And every test, do you know what is the intent of the test? Is it to top the class? No. Yeah.
It's to see what the students understand.
Right. It's a reflection of your preparation. That's how you have to look at it. And that's why there are multiple attempts in the SAT also. That when you give the SAT and you don't get the desired score, and you get a bad score or good score, it says how prepared are you compared to what you want to be. So take the test like a relay race. When there's no sprinter in the world who runs only once. They keep running to improve their score, improve their performance, improve their speed. That is how you have to look at the test also. So here also, same thing. When you look at this data, this gives you the inference that okay, what happened? Let's say this year, let's say 50 students appear whom you know for the SAT, and 49 of them got, let's say, 200 out of 800 in maths. The kids will know that okay, I have to prepare and get my score better. At the same time, the teachers or the board who had set the paper, they will also look at the data to understand what went wrong. Was it way too tough? Was it abnormally difficult? Was it because there was some problem with the software system itself? So all the data, the information that you come across, that has some intent behind, and different people look at the data in different ways to derive the interpretation and then use it for their need. And that is exactly the premise of what we are learning as part of this unit. Okay? You will not learn anything very fancy as part of this unit, but this helps you relate what is the importance and significance of data and how do you use that for your purpose. Was that too deep a lecture for you guys? No? Makes sense? Everybody on the screen? Sarah, Neil, Sunarka, Ria. Is it making sense? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's move on. So mean mode, median mode we are done. Let's not go into that. Now you guys knew how to calculate mean median mode. And I kind of gave you guys a little bit of dope to relate it with practical realities around yourself. Okay? So that this will stick with you guys a little longer. That's what I tried doing. Okay? Because there's nothing new that I'll teach as part of mean median mode. It's there everywhere. Right? So mean median mode we talked about. There's something called standard deviation also that we learned in the previous class. Anybody in the class who doesn't know how to calculate the standard deviation? You know or you don't know? Oh, you don't know. Okay. I will not teach standard deviation today. I will just give you a link of the class. Just go through that once and then come back to me with questions. So whatever we learned in the class, I would always suggest or prescribe you guys to solve few problems relating to that concept once you understand it, and then challenge your teacher that okay, you did not teach it well, I could not solve the problem, and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so I will give you guys, everybody, the link of the class where I have explained standard deviation. Just go through it once and let me know if there's something that is not good enough for you to get your journey going with standard deviation. In one line, if I have to say, let's see who in the class can explain except Praneeth. Anybody on the screen? Can you guys give a story around what is standard deviation and what it is used for? Anybody? Deep? Gautam? Anybody? Vishal? What is standard deviation and what exactly it is used for? Very hot? Okay. Yeah, Vishal, go ahead.
Standard deviation is like how far a value is from the mean, and so you find the mean and subtract it,
Okay. So you said standard deviation is something that tells you how far your values are from the mean. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take that as one definition. What else?
Standard deviation gives you a mathematical.
You'll have to learn how to shout. This is
Standard
louder.
deviation gives you a mathematical like technique to find out how much variation there is between this point and this point.
Okay. You were not going to standard deviation. Okay. I don't have any problem explaining that. I'm just trying to save some time because I just explained this in the last class. Just spend 15 minutes to watch the video of the class. Okay. And then if there is still doubt, I'll come back to it again. Okay. So Arush, how about you? Are you aware of what is standard deviation? No. Okay. So let me just give you a quick prelude. So Vishal, what you said versus what Praneeth said, that makes sense. And it's a tool, it's a technique that helps you find out how much of variation you see in your data set that you're dealing with. Let's say if I'm talking about one set of record where all the numbers are 3 versus second set of record like this versus third set of record you should look at this one. You can clearly see that there's not much of variance, or there's no variance among the data elements here in this set, in the first set. Second set, yes, there's some variance. Third set, there's lot more variance. So if standard deviation is a fruit, let's say, if standard deviation is a fruit, this fruit is this small here. This fruit is bigger here. Yeah. And standard deviation gives you a technique for deriving the size of this fruit. It's a technique which tells you that, okay, how much of variance is there in your data. So, okay, let me take 1 minute to quickly walk you guys through, okay. So, to find out the standard deviation, what you have to do is find out the mean of every set, okay. Let's say here the mean is 3. Standard deviation is calculated like this. It is square root of this is a symbol called sigma. You guys call sigma male, all that, right? For your generation, this sigma is a mathematical symbol which means sum of certain things. Okay? So this standard deviation is nothing but every element in your set minus the mean is square of this divided by number of elements you have. Okay. So now every time you come across the sigma term, my younger one is in middle school. Okay, so she keeps talking about sigma, stupidity, all those funny stuff. So this sigma will help you relate that. Okay, this sigma is much more deeper than what you guys hear in the school. Okay, so this standard deviation is every term in the data set minus the mean. The square of that, add them together. So let's say 3 minus 3, 0. The square of that, 0 square, plus 3 minus 3, 0. Square of that, plus 3 minus 3, 0. Square of that, 3 minus 3, 0. Square of that. Similarly, if you look at this one, let's say your mean was 3. So this sigma, this thing will be 4 minus 3 square plus 2 minus 3 square plus 1 minus 3 square plus 5 minus 3 square. All added together divided by number of elements you had in the set. And then once you find the value, do a square root of that. That is just mathematical way of calculating standard deviation. So I said you guys have to watch the video. You guys can choose how to watch the video. You still have to watch the video because I have solved few problems. You can relate now. And then try solving few problems with standard deviation. In summary, standard deviation, like when we talked about center and spread, we talked about mean, median, mode, which tells you the trend or the flow of records or the variation within the records. Similarly, this gives you a mathematical tool to say, okay, how much is variance here? Let's say standard deviation comes here 0, it becomes 0 only. In this case, it might come as 1.2. In this case, it might come 3.7. I'm just making it up. So this is absolute value which tells you how much of variance you have in the data set that you're dealing with. Okay? So it's just a mathematical way of doing it. Everybody with me? So we talked about center and spread of data by using the techniques mean, median, mode or standard deviation. This just gives you a way to analyze your data and say how do you derive some interpretation out of it. But everything is here. Nothing is visually present. Everything is mathematically here. When you look at certain data and then you derive some interpretation from that, you have the picture in your mind. But what is then in my mind, how would you guys know? Unless I plot it somewhere. That is where the data representation comes into the picture. And there are different tools and techniques for doing that. And those are, what are the different tools and techniques for data representation? Anything that you guys, charts and graphs. What are the charts and graphs you guys are aware of? Bar, box plots, okay. What else? Histogram. Anybody on the screen? You guys are very quiet today. Sara, Neil, Danvin, Ria, Chris, Gautam. What are the tools and techniques? I heard histogram, I heard box plots, I heard pie chart, bar chart, scatter plots, dot plots, line graph, little louder better, bar charts, yes. So these are, now we are going to the next level. That, okay, we have data, we organized them to find out median, we did the average to find out the center, we found a standard deviation to say, okay, mathematically that one magical number which will tell me how much of variance I have in the data set that I'm dealing with. Now we are going to the next level of representing that data. That whatever data I have calculated or kind of derived or interpreted, how do I represent that for a more intuitive insight into things? Now, so that is where you have all these tools and techniques. Bar chart or bar graph, whatever you call it. Then you have line graph. Then you have dot plots. Scatter plots. Pie chart. Histogram. Okay. So most of these graphs are charts. You would have come across some any which way, in different shapes and forms. Forget about math class. You would have come across these graphs in your real life also. Who all has phone in the class? You have phone. Everybody has phone. Some of you have phone. Yeah. So whenever you open a website, you will see there's some representation of data. Not every website is only text, right? So they try to put. Who all follows cricket? Nobody follows cricket? No. You follow cricket? You follow cricket? So again, cricket was just an example. Whichever sports you follow, you will see that whenever there is a tournament or league happening, all the results. Let me pause for 2 seconds. I remember Arush's name and Sahil. I forgot your name. David. So David, are you feeling hot? I believe so. I can see that. You might want to move a little bit that side so that you can get the mist from there. But be careful with the wet floor. Okay? Maybe here. You will feel much more comfortable. Is it better? Yeah. Don't be shy. Okay? I know I made this place wet and slippery, but that was only with the intent to make it a little comfortable for you guys. Tomorrow I'll have the AC delivered, okay? So don't worry about it. So now all these graphs or charts that you guys have come across, don't learn it just because I'm asking you guys to learn. explain to me why do we need so many of them? Who does what? And in what circumstances we use these charts or graphs? Yeah. You give me an example of one, okay, so that I give chance to everybody.
Pie chart we can use to see like how different phenomenon is like
I
has
will-
greater value.
I will suggest you to drink more milk and eat more fruits so that you can be a little louder. Okay, little louder.
So pie charts we could use to see which data has more representation, which doesn't have as much
Okay.
representation.
Okay. Okay, I got one definition of pie chart saying that if I have some data, which part of the data is consuming more percentage. So basically, if I'm talking about a pie chart, it's a pie. Apple pie, banana pie, pineapple pie, don't mind. Maybe pecan pie also. But then it's a round shape. It's a circle. Even if it doesn't look like that based on my drawing skills, but it's a circle. Let's say if this is representing $100 that you spend in 2 days, okay? Obviously, you will spend it for buying books, for buying some, eating out with your friends, or for buying some, maybe you wanted to spend some money for buying something for your parents also. So $100 you had, you spent $40 eating out with friends, $30 for books, and remaining $30 you said, okay, fine, or $20 I'll spend for buying grocery to make my mommy happy. Okay? And then remaining $10 you spend for watching movie. Now, if this data, $40, $30, $20, $10 out of 100, this is how you spend. If I represent that in the form of pie chart, I say 40%, roughly this much. This is for dining out. $40, 40% of 100, right? So, $30 for buying books, maybe this much. This is books. You might say that the teacher has a very bad color sense, and that's okay. Yeah. Then $20 you wanted to make mommy happy, so you said, okay, fine, I will use $20 for grocery. And remaining $10 you spend for watching movie. Now by looking at this pie chart alone, you don't have to memorize data. This gives you a very good sense of that major chunk of your spending went for dining out. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just giving data, okay? Maybe it was me, not you guys. 30%, I mean, you still spend a significant sum for buying books, which is a productive spend. And then this chunk was used for grocery. So you gave enough weightage to how to make mommy happy. And then little bit you kept for your fun. So this is a very intuitive representation of the same information. If I would have given you this story, writing 4 sentences, and you had to kind of look at this, read this, and derive some meaning out of it, that would have been a very boring exercise. Wherein just looking at this pie, you don't mind looking at it or spending 2 seconds. Because you can read this information in a very intuitive way in very less time. And you can come to some derivation out of that data. So, like you would have heard, picture speaks 1,000 words. This is that picture which is speaking 1,000 words, or 1,000 boring words otherwise. Everybody is silent. Is it because of the hot weather, or it's because I'm making it so very boring for you guys? Is everybody with me so far on the screen? Neil, Sara, Sunarka, Dhanvin, Priya, Vishal, Gautam, with me? Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, every tool that we will talk about, we started with pie chart, which looks like a pie, and then what percentage of your distribution is cutting what part of the pie makes it more intuitive to interpret. Okay? Likewise, all the tools that we'll go through one by one, it gives you that pictorial or intuitive representation of the data, which will be very boring otherwise. Yes, Gautam. No worries, no worries. No, I mean, I'm just checking. So, net, we have just looked at one of the tool, pie chart, and that gives us a way to represent data. Now you will say, okay, when do we use pie chart? Basically, when you have to represent the whole data, whole versus part data, okay, you use pie chart. When you have to represent the whole part relationship, then okay. If let's imagine a second situation, okay. Let's forget about this. I will not delete this pie chart just for a little bit. Let's say I want to show how my height increased with time. Okay? I'm talking about my height, which is not much, but this is how it is. Okay? When I was 5-year-old, when I was 10-year-old, when I was 20-year-old, when I was 30-year-old, when I was 40-year-old, when I was 45-year-old. I'll not tell you after that, because I stopped growing after a certain point. Yeah? So if I have to represent how my height grew over time, let's say this is 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. I could not reach here. And that's it. Yeah? Now here, look at this. When I was 5-year-old, my height was let's say 3 feet. By the time I was 10, I was 4.5. By the time I turned 20, I was close to 5 feet 6 inches. And sadly, it remained the same after that. Can I use a pie chart for this? Is called bar chart or bar graph. Can I use a pie chart in this situation? No. So that is why different charts have different significance. When you represent something over time or across 2 dimensions. On one dimension you have height, on one dimension you have age. You can use the same thing for during the COVID times. They were using bar chart for representing how many new COVID cases every day, every month, every state. Bar chart was one of the options. I cannot use pie chart for that. So simple thing from an interpretation point of view is, if you have to use a whole or demonstrate or showcase whole part relationship, mostly you end up using pie chart. When you have to represent some data along 2 dimensions, you use bar chart. So this is bar chart or bar graph. Any questions so far? I will not speak anything unless I get acknowledgement from at least some of you. No, I can make eye contact with you guys. I'm not able to do that with the kids on the screen. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense? So, see, one thing is guaranteed. Among all these tools, you guys know most of them. What I'm trying to tell you or guide you towards is to understand under what circumstances you would use what tool. What is a prescribed tool and why. If I ever force you guys to say, okay, draw a pie chart representing how I grew over time, you will say, sir, you did not grow. Forget about your growth. Okay? Because you cannot represent that. There is a limitation with the tool or technique that you are using here. With me, Arush? Any doubt? Now, whenever I see anybody not sounding confident, I will ask. Okay? Not to put anybody on the spot, just to make sure that I am not wasting your time. Okay? Gautam with me?
Yes.
Give me one scenario when you will not use pie chart, apart from what I showed here. Give me one scenario in one story. Tell me a story, practically relatable story. And it's not only for Gautam. Let's see who is how creative here in this class. Tell me one situation under which you will not use pie chart, apart from what we have here. Or, okay, let me rephrase it. Tell me one situation where you will use pie chart, apart from the scenario that I talked about.
You can use your pie chart to talk about the different. You can use pie chart to talk about the different parts of this company that's making money, how much it made.
Okay, so now I will shout on behalf of Praneeth. Praneeth was saying that you can use pie chart for representing how much revenue every department of a company is making. Classic example. Let's take Tesla as an example. Now, how does Tesla make money? Selling cars, selling cyber trucks, selling batteries, and then batteries also, they sell batteries. You have solar system from Tesla as well. When I was installing solar plates on my roof, I had two options. One was the one that I used, I forgot. Anyway, forget about that. Let's say that was something. And then I have Tesla also as an option. So Tesla makes money by selling cyber trucks, by selling normal cars, by selling batteries, and through services also. Right? Every car makes money. Right? You'll see that you go to Toyota showroom, you'll see that okay, they have a service center by the side where Suhina, you are 8 minutes early for the class with her. Okay, so if I have to look at, let's say this quarter Elon Musk reported that we are making losses. I mean, their revenue reduced by 13% this quarter. For whatever reason. I'm not going to that aspect. Okay? But revenue dropped by 13%. So, what they would have done, okay, my car business got me this much. Cybertruck, which was a very hyped one, is not doing as great as it was supposed to. Battery is doing okay. My services still making me a lot of money. This is services. So when Elon Musk or anybody higher up in his organization looks at this pie chart, it's okay, fine. Services is my survivor. Is making me survive. My problem is here. I have to come up with some strategy to increase the sales of Cybertrucks. My car business is okay. Maybe I have to still sustain. So all these charts, it's not coming from an alien brain. It is actually for giving a different dimension, a different color to your knowledge. How do you represent that to make more sense? See, the way we are seeing this, or the way Praneeth explained this, it could represent the revenue earned by different departments. It's pretty relatable, right? I mean, it doesn't sound cryptic at all, right? And there could be many more examples. Even I could use a pie chart to showcase how my salary is getting used on different things. Part of it going for rent, for EMI, part of it going for my car loans, part of it going for utility, part of it going for groceries, part of it going for education, whatnot, right? So these are the tools that enables us to be more self-sufficient as human beings. If you get 100%, I don't mind. But understanding why we are learning this is more important. Yeah? So a score is something that I would not entertain or would want to get worried about. Neither I want you guys to be worried about. But make sure that you're learning this is a life skill. because this will help you become much more enabled to to make your own decisions when you guys grow up. Yeah, make sense? How was the speech? Good. You guys are, huh? Yes, better. That's good. So now you can relate. Bar chart, pie chart is going to be part of our life hereafter. It's not going to be a stressful concept that we have to memorize. Many of you have Tesla, unlike me. So you will say, okay, fine. Pie chart is helping Elon Musk figure out how to take care of my business. Where to put more focus and energy, right? As a CEO, do you think he goes and assembles the car by himself? No. He has to look at how the departments are performing and where he has to put his energy, put more workforce, put more experts to make the change. Yeah? Alright, so we looked at bar chart and pie chart. Now let's look at one more. That is line graph. Again, going back to the same story of mile growth, which has not been very significant but still okay. This is 5, 10, 20, 30. I'm talking till 30 because I don't think I've grown after that. I might stray maybe after some time. It happens. So, this is 3 feet. This time, I will not put bar chart. What I will do is, okay, when I was 3-year-old, when I was 5-year-old, I was 3 feet. Like a coordinate plane. Rudraksh, come here, be careful with the water, okay? I don't want you to get hurt. Just walk carefully and grab a chair. For yourself, sit down, wait for your turn. So, when I was 5-year-old, I was 3 feet. When I was 10-year-old, maybe I grew to 4 feet. When I was 20 years old, I grew to 5 feet, 6 inches. And then when I was 30, I was same. This is another picture saying 1,000 words. This is called line graph. So bar graph, line graph can be used interchangeably. This is less clumsy, less cluttered compared to bar graph, and it gives you a trend. Tomorrow, when you are talking about, let's say, a line graph and you see like this versus like this, you will say, okay, fine, I can relate that with linear equation, which has more slope, it has less slope. And you can predict what future could be. So there are 3 things that we learn. We learn about this guy, learn about this guy, and we learn about this guy. Histogram, dot plots, scatter plots. We learn tomorrow, and that will probably complete our representation part of it. But we may not be able to complete remaining 3 tomorrow because, again, the scatter plot has a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of things that you can relate with your understanding of linear equation, quadratic equation, and things like that. So we'll come to that in the next class, and we will see what we are able to learn or relate with what we do. Now, for all the kids who are joining for the first time today, I don't give assignment to you guys. Because I know you have a lot of homework and activities. But what I prescribe is, everything that we learn in the class, go to Khan Academy, open a digital listening prep, do unit test for that particular topic. So that way you will see that, okay, whatever concept you learn, I'll be able to apply and solve few problems. And in tomorrow's class, we'll solve few problems also. So we solve few problems in the class, and then I request you guys to do it offline as well. Not with the stress. Even if you do 2 problems, I don't mind. You don't have to show it to me. But it is for you yourself to know or be assured that, okay, whatever you learn, you are able to apply that and able to solve the problem. With that being said, if you guys have no doubt, be ready to have more fun with dot plots, scatter plots, and histogram tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow, same time. Yeah? Alright. Bye, Dhanvin. Bye, Gautam. Okay. So who all we have? We have Riyaz, Suhina, and who else?